We're here at the Point-7 stand and I'm gonna ask Andera Chucci, the owner and the creative brain behind Point-7, for a little sneak peek for next year. Maybe he's got something for us. Let's go and ask. Mr. Chucci, can I maybe ask you for a favor?
Yes.
Do you maybe have a little sneak peek for the viewers for next year?
I do, and I have it on my hands. It's right here. Something that is not yet existing at this level. And it would bring something new to windsurfing. Okay, so what we did was to bring to the market the first production sail, which is fully Q-bonded. Q-bonded means that instead of using the traditional stitching of the sail, it's actually going to be assembled using Q-bonding, which is ultrasound gluing. So ultrasound means that you're having the panels like in the normal windsurfing sail, but instead of stitching, you have this glue which is welding the two parts. So you're going to take out all the stitching, all the holes in the sails, which are actually a weak point of the sail. It's a stretching point of the sail. So the advantage is that you don't need reinforcements. There are no holes in the sails, and on the water it will feel like more reactive because there's no stretch. And of course, not having reinforcement, not having the stitching, not having button pockets, not having a lot of other parts will also make the sail light on the beach. And the difference is like, you know, if you would say that a sail is normally 5.2 kilo, here we are talking about 4.5, so it's like 700 grams less in a 5 kilo sail. But the weight on land, I was never really a big fan of, you know, light sails. I was always a big fan of having performing sails, which means that sometimes you have to go on a certain thickness to achieve a big wind range. And in this case, we managed to use the same materials that normal windsurfing sails that we produce till now are using, but enhancing the performance thanks to the Q-bonding structure. There were some sails we were using, which have been built using a Q-bond, but they were never fully Q-bonded. There were a lot of stitching still in them. Some of them were ultra-bonded, which means that you're using, except instead of the Q-bond ultrasound system, you're using like a gun which is gluing, but it's of course not as strong and it's not as clean as a Q-bonded sail. To make a Q-bonded sail, there's a lot of work and details which need to be made to be sure that it's working correctly. So here I have the sail. I'm going to show you a little bit of it right now. So this is a sail, and as you see, there are no stitching on the panels. It's all without stitching, and also the button tensioners, they have no stitching. The only part which is stitched is actually the mast sleeve, so the mast sleeve to the sail body. But the rest of the sail has no more stitching, nothing. This is like a no-cam sail, and we're going to have a whole range of sails made with Q-bonding, so it's not just going to be the race sail. We will start with the race sail for fin slalom, the foil sail, and a freestyle sail. That's going to be the first production for this autumn. And slowly we're going to introduce, you know, the options also for the other models. We will not quit doing stitch sails, so we're going to have also the stitched versions, because this will be a special product, of course, you know, with a different cost. And so we'll give both options. But this is something very new, not existing yet, because it's a real production sail. What we have here is like the third sails we actually made in production, and we had 7 years experience testing. Of course, we were making them at our loft. When we went to production, we realized the possibilities even to improve the projects. So this is the first sails in production, but the final ones, which will be available in October, will be again one step ahead of what we have here today.
Of course, the first thing you and I want to know is what is the difference in the performance? Do I feel it?
The difference is very clear, because, you know, when you get into a gust, normally the sail is like breathing, it's like stretching because of the holes into the sail, and here there's no stretching. So the good thing is that often, you know, we have seen sails which have like special materials, you know, or there's been a lot of trying to do something different. But here we were able to bring a new construction using what are the best materials in windsurfing. Because monofilm, in the end, laminates, anti-UV laminates, is what gives the reflex, the best reflex, the best torsion, with a windsurfing mast, you know, and that's where you get all the performance. So if you're able to keep those materials and introduce this cube bonding construction, you're keeping distortions, you're keeping the profiles, the opening of the leash. You just don't have this stretch, which is an elastic. So when you're sitting down on your harness and you're pushing on the board, you don't have this elastic sensation, which actually moves you around. It makes you don't actually realize there is, but there is. And you realize once you try these sails, you go back, you realize that this has an extra stability. So this means that you can keep a higher speed in, let's say, in a longer run, because you're not moving. So your average speed, if you're talking about slalom sails, it gets much higher. If you take a wave sail, you're much more precise in the maneuvers, in the jumps. It's just all more precise. And another thing also for freestyling, the reactivity is much higher, and freestyle is very important. In foiling, you know, we are doing like sails where there's less stretch as possible, and this is a big advantage for the foil sails. So for every discipline, there is a nice advantage that this construction is offering.
How strong is a cube bonded sail if you compare it to the old stitched sails?
Well, you have to think that, as said before, there are holes when you're stitching, and these holes are weak points, which are covered by normally some insignia tape, so that the holes are not like getting wider and tearing the monofilms. Here you don't have those holes. So if I would like make a cut in the monofilm and I would just start ripping it like this, it's very easy to rip the monofilm, yeah? Once you have a cut. But if you go through the seam, a stitch seam, you can actually continue to break it. It doesn't hold. Once you get to the welded part, cube bonded, you get to the point, it will never open. So, you know, over the long term, you know, there's not, the welding is forever. What is breaking is maybe if you crash, you can break the monofilm, and then that's the first part which will break, but not the welding part, welded part. And if you need to repair it, which I'm sure is going to be your next question, you can repair it just as a normal sail.
Is it more expensive?
We don't know yet, because we were in production just 3 weeks ago, and we realized about a lot of opportunities that we couldn't see while we were making the custom sails over the years here at our loft. And when we went there, we actually saw what opportunities we had to actually, let's say, bring this project to be even more efficient. We saw also the difficulties that they would have had in production. So we changed a lot of things, and we're expecting to have the cost very soon. And we have to think that, of course, you know, the thread has a price. The cube bonded tape has another price. So that's already making a difference in the price. So there will be higher priced.
Why is a cube bonded sail lighter, and does it really matter?
The weight advantage is actually coming also from the fact that you don't have any reinforcements. Reinforcements are put to actually make the sail stronger, where you have more stitching, because you want to keep the sail to be strong in some areas, but like the eyelet, like the clew, and in this case, or even the button tensioners. So in this case, as everything is glued, there are no holes, so all the reinforcements are taken out. So there's less material in the sail, which makes it heavy, sometimes in important places. And so sometimes, you know, you say, okay, it's 700 grams lighter, but you know, if you calculate the boom, the mast extension, you know, it's not 700 grams over, I don't know, 12 kilos, it's not that much in the end. But if those 700 grams are taken out from the important points, it makes even a bigger difference.
As cube bonding is a completely new concept within windsurfing, how do we know it will last in the long term?
We were starting the project 7 years ago, and we still have the first sails, which are, you know, incredibly welded properly, like the beginning. So yes, we did our test, which is 7 years long now, but that's our own experience. But I mean, cube bonding has been existing in the world of sailing since a long time, and there are building sails which are much bigger, spinnackers, you know, huge sails, 100-meter square sails, and they have more experience than us. They've been, you know, and I've talked to them, we researched it, we talked to the producer of the materials of the cube bond, you know, and I mean, the durability is just even higher than a stitch sail in the end.
Okay, I just promised Andrea that I wouldn't show this video until the official release. I think that will be very difficult. Well, I thought it was quite an interesting insight. I haven't had the opportunity to test one of the Q-bonded sails yet, but as soon as I get my hands on it, of course you guys will be the first to know, as I will make a review of it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this video. If you liked it, leave a big like. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel of the Windsurf Coach. And of course, I will see you in the next one or on the water.